seeing my son die on a video on YouTube is closure. The teacher asked him, what are you getting up to these days? And he said, just dabbling in a bit of music.
And then someone probably ran over and said, can I have a selfie? And the teacher was like, sure.
I promise you, sitting there and telling an 8-year-old that your dad is no more here. She said, but he's coming back, right? He's going to be okay. So in that moment, I realized that she didn't actually concept the idea of death.
Do you want to know who did it? Do you have a desire to know who the people responsible are?
Justice for me is celebrating my son's life. When he died, I actually really for the first time understood the magnitude of Kiernan Forbes of AKA.
Hallo mense, it's Schalk beside Note here and welcome to another episode of Your Mom with Schalk, sponsored by House Wine. This is the pink one today, which I think is very appropriate because I'm sitting here with a beautiful woman. It's never felt so wrong to call someone Tannie Lynn before.
Tannie Lynn. And
I
somebody...
always call the moms Tannie.
But you can, because look, remember, I'm Afrikaans.
I feel more comfortable that way.
And I'm Afrikaans speaking.
Is
I grew up, I only
lekker.
went, I became twanging like this when I went to varsity.
Where did you go to varsity?
University of the Western Cape, UWC. So I want to first see if I can also do that the way you did it, without spilling it all over myself. Wait.
Oh, there's the Afrikaans coming through, yeah.
Kyk nou vir Tannie.
Afrikaans Tannies know how to work with nails.
Okay, we should be cheersing.
Yeah, look at these mics. Okay, there we go.
Sipping and looking in each other's eyes.
Cheers.
Cheers, Schalk.
Tannie Lynn, yeah, I was going to say, it throws me off a little bit always when a mom doesn't look like a mom.
You don't know how to handle it, huh?
Yeah, because, Afrikaans Tannies, moms have like a look, but you like so young and you like got like lekker earrings. Like my wife would wear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how old is your wife now, if I may ask?
She's my age. She's 31.
In the 30s.
But then you got the silk pajamas on, which
you know, this is how I woke up this morning. I mean, this is how I got out of bed. There was no power. There was load shedding. There was another fault. So this is literally me getting out of bed and coming here.
Now, in the words of Fergie, glamorous. Glamorous. So obviously the concept of Your Mom with Schalk is I talk to a mom with a celebrity there. But now, tragically, ladies and gentlemen, I do not have the honor and the privilege today of speaking to AKA and his mother, Lynn. I haven't even introduced you as AKA's mom. Yes. Do you prefer saying Kiernan or AKA? What do you...
Look, I call him Kiernan. It will be a bit weird if I call him AKA, but you can go either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, I don't think I've ever... I think because when I met him when he did the show for Trevor Noah. I was the opening act and then he was on and then there was a break and then Trevor Noah. And I think even when I met him, I was like, hello, AKA.
Hello, AKA. Schalk, come on.
But I think at that moment, I was like, because if you only know someone's stage name, I was like, I don't think I know his real name. And then I just could remember Forbes and I was like, I don't want to say Mr. Forbes.
Mr. Forbes, yeah. No, look, I call him Kiernan, obviously, but I know who you're talking about when you say AKA.
Yes. So, okay, talk to me about growing up. Did he music?
Yeah.
You
want to know about him as a little boy.
Yeah. That's always the scoop, that you can get from the mother.
Like from the mother, also nobody else knows.
Yeah, also because you can never remember your life really as a child.
Okay, Kiernan. Wow. Do you want me to start when he was born?
Whenever.
I'll give you little bits and pieces.
Born in Cape Town, then raised in Joburg.
You want like an autobiography?
Can you tell I read the Wikipedia page?
Yeah, no, look. But in a nutshell, really, he was actually born in Cape Town. Let me tell you, that was a baby who slept. He slept and he slept. I would I breastfed him until he was about, he could already walk. After, he was probably almost 3 when he stopped breastfeeding. He was such a mommy's boy. But he was that child that would sleep.
Is that even legal?
I tell you, he would say, sit. I would have to flick his feet like this, his toes for him to wake up, to drink, to breastfeed. He would sleep in his bath. So I think he knew from a young age that I'm going to have very late nights later on in my life. I need to sleep.
I was one of the writers on the roast of AKA when we did his roast. Now I'm thinking, yeah, I wish we knew he was breastfed till the age of 3.
You did
That would have
not.
made for some
You
pretty
see,
good
now I can tell
roasts.
you these stories. You can't come at me right now, no. But he was, but also Kiernan was always an entertainer from when he was little.
Okay.
He was
Shows in the
always,
lounge.
he would, when we had family gatherings, he would be the person that would be there finding his spot. And the moment you gave him attention, he would be there entertaining you, singing. Michael Jackson was always his favorite act.
You know, those are always so funny to me because it always starts cute.
Yeah.
And then there's like 1 or 2 songs, and then everyone, okay.
Okay, it's
and
okay
everyone
now.
wants
And
to
he
go
still
back
wants
to the braai.
no, and
then it's
he
like,
doesn't want to
no,
stop.
I've got 3 more.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then after that, it's the encore, and then they just repeat.
And then it repeats, and that was him. So that was him. He loved. He was born for the stage. He was always the center of attention and attraction, and he knew that, and he loved it because he was the only grandchild from both sides at that time. He was the firstborn, and he was a boy, and on both sides of the family, he was the only one. So he got all the attention for a while until the other children came. And he was also Kiernan was very smart up to the end. His general knowledge was on another level.
Is it?
He read
Good 30 seconds
encyclopedia.
partner.
Yeah, he read encyclopedias.
What?
Yeah, and
Wow.
you could ask him anything, and he would want to show that off. But also, then sometimes he would want to, when parents want to show off their children, and you say, "Oh, just show Auntie whatever quickly what you
Yeah.
who's the president of the United States or something like that," and then we'll go Winnie Mandela. So he would do that too because he knew, but he was that person who would sit. I mean, he was 5 years old when he sat through the inauguration of Nelson Mandela.
Wow.
And he would come back, and he would, you would be busy. I think we actually left him. Don't tell the Child Protection Services, but I think we went to a wedding and we left him at home to watch the inauguration, and he came back and he gave us the scoop. So so that was Kiernan in a
Because
nutshell.
at 5 I was watching
Yeah.
Lion King and Pinocchio
you
on
watched
video.
the
He's watching the inauguration of Nelson
inauguration,
Mandela.
and he loved those kind of things.
Brilliant.
So so that was him as a little kid. A lot of fun, a lot of entertainment. Just smart child.
And the love, okay, then the love for hip hop, did that start in school? And was someone in the house listening to hip hop, or where did that start?
Yeah, and I'm going to obviously give my best recollection of this. I might be completely wrong, and the Megacy will probably come out and say, "That's not what he said, Glammy." The Megacy is Kiernan's fan base. They know more than me, but I love them to bits.
It's the Megacy.
The Megacy, yeah.
I never knew the fan collective noun.
Yeah, no, they called the Megacy, and the Megacy is
Wow.
another force to reckon with. Don't mess with Glammy, guys, please, because they will come for you.
What's Glammy?
I'm Glammy.
You Glammy. Okay, sorry. No, I'm just, yeah.
So coming back to Kiernan,
I'm showing my Afrikaansness and my whiteness here.
Fine. So
all
coming
this.
back to Kiernan, as where did hip hop start? As far as I can remember, Kiernan. So in the house, in the home, Kiernan's dad, Tony, we now divorced, but his father, my ex-husband, there was a big influence of all genres of music.
Yeah.
Tony listened to a lot of country music. For instance, there was, I don't know if you know, Cat Stevens, Bread, those kind of influences, Paul Simon and all of that. And then as he got older, there was obviously then cousins. And then I believe that they then started listening to hip hop. Hip hop was not something that came from within the home.
Yes.
But obviously as they grow older, there's the cousins, and that influence then comes from there. So, that's when he picked up hip hop. And then by the time Kiernan went into high school, at St. John's College. So he went to St. John's College, and his 2 friends, there were 3 of them that then formed the group Entity.
Yes, I know.
Remember Entity?
Because he, just a fun fact, because he was in class with 2 comedians, Mpo Pops,
yes,
wasn't it? And wasn't it Mojack Leok or the other one?
Yeah, so, and those kids actually, I can't remember now exactly, but Mpo definitely came from before high school. They actually went to Greenside Primary together.
No, I'm lying. I think, Mpo Pops and Mojack were in primary school.
Definitely. Primary school. Those kids were in my home all the time when they were little kids in high school. But then he met Sizwe Mpofu Walsh and Nhlanhla McKenna, and they formed Entity.
Okay, yeah.
And again, Kiernan has always been somebody that would just go for what.
So that was in high school that they formed Entity.
They formed Entity in high school.
Did they play live shows then?
So they were recording music. Okay,
mm.
not at school. I'm trying to remember now. They did shows. But I must tell you, my brain is a bit foggy about exactly what
It's
they were
like
doing. But they were the clubs,
at Athletics Day.
no, not at school.
No, at clubs.
don't think they've ever performed at school functions. I don't think that was part of their thing. They were, however, nominated for the Cora Awards as best hip hop. They released the album Royal School of Hip Hop
Yeah.
when they were in high
Is it on
school.
Spotify? I want to go find some Entity. I haven't heard Entity.
I don't know if it's on Spotify, but it's on YouTube. I mean, you can go
Okay.
find Entity. Well, you can find the different songs there.
Okay, lekker.
I just watched them the other day because I obviously reminisce about all of the
Yes.
stuff now. But those boys, let me tell you something about them. They knew from the start where they were going. And Kiernan knew that this was what he was going to do. And I don't know if you remember, there was a song right in the beginning called All I Know.
Think
And it
so,
says,
yeah.
there's no plan B, this is all I know. So Kiernan decided at a very young age that this is what he was going to
And
do.
was there after high school no plan B? Straight
I'm going to
into
tell
it,
you about.
or
I'm
did
going to
you
tell you
try?
about
Did
that.
you try and say,
Of course,
just get a
I had to be
something
a
to fall back
mother.
on? I know my mom also wanted me to study
I'll tell you-
journalism
Yeah.
to fall back on, or she's like, get your teaching degree so you can
Yeah.
teach Afrikaans or drama at a school to
Yeah.
fall back on. And I was like,
Yeah.
no
But I'll
plan
tell you what
B.
he did. So during high school, so obviously we're talking about, we're sending you to St. John's College. I mean, why do you think we're sending you to St. John's College?
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why you're going there. And Kiernan was actually a very easy teenager because they
Is
were
it?
so entrenched in their music. They were they were spending their weekends mostly doing music. So we didn't have teenage kind of problems with Kiernan,
Okay.
except for that one time he got really drunk for the first time and he had to phone his dad to come fetch him. But that was a good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean that's
That you phone your
nothing
dad.
compared to
Yeah, when you get really drunk and you actually phone your dad to come fetch you.
problem is when
So-
you don't phone your dad. That's
Yeah.
when the cock happens. Yeah.
And that was much later on. But what I wanted to tell you, so they really put their energies into to music and to hip hop, and they would sit in the back of the bus. That's what they did when the school excursions happened. They would
Were
sit
they
in the
cool?
back.
Were they cool in school, or were they
They were
sort of
cool.
like
No, they were cool.
nerds who were
No,
making
no.
music?
No. They were cool in
They were
school,
cool.
but they were not the rugby boys.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
they were more I wouldn't say, but they weren't uncool.
They weren't like the
they
music
were-
nerds. They were
No.
Yeah.
They remember. I mean, this is
I
hip
mean,
hop. How
hip-hop
can
is a
hip
bit
hop
of a
not be cool? Hip hop is
cool
cool.
genre.
This is hip hop. Somebody said the other day on Twitter. They said, because I had a conversation and I said, this is hip hop, and they put it on and said, this is hip hop, inverted commas, Lynn Forbes. So anyway, so Kiernan,
Gonna get that
yeah,
tattooed.
so they didn't win the Cora Awards. They went all the way to Durban. I laugh because the outfits they were wearing, because if you look at now versus
The
then,
fashion.
but they were nominated. It was a big deal. The Cora Awards
So what
at
was
that
it,
time,
like baggy?
yeah, I mean, this jacket that Kiernan was wearing looked like it was down on his knees. It was that proper, but I must just tell you now, in this phase where I'm at, I'm just going to put in this here because I know we're talking about him, but I want to tell you something about me.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all of this happening and I'm thinking, my child is going to be a gangster.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about hip hop. For me,
I mean, that is a
that's the-
natural thing
that's
to
the
think
thing.
for mother.
For me, in
for
my head,
hip-hop.
hip hop or rap at that time
Yeah.
for me meant your child is gone off the rails.
But also, like, I mean, the publicity around it doesn't help because there's 50
Yes.
Cent and he got shot like 50
Exactly.
times or something.
But then you know what we did as parents, because we've always been very supportive of what our children wanted to do. So we did say to him, he said, this is what I wanted to do. And we said, okay, this is what you'll do, but there must be a backup. You need to study to become something, because like hip hop is not something,
Yeah.
You need to become something. You need to become a lawyer or a dentist, or,
Yeah.
the proper jobs
Yeah.
that people do.
Yes. So what did he study?
So what he did, he said, okay, I'll become a sound engineer. I won't go to
Okay.
university. I'll become a sound engineer. So he went to, I can remember sitting at the,
Shout out to our sound engineer over there.
yes,
It's never too late, bro, to release that album.
it is never too late. So anyway, I can remember, I'll tell you this before he now goes off to varsity. Before I go there, also Kiernan was at school. Kiernan was head of head of discipline.
Ooh.
hmm
Okay.
Kiernan was on the first debating team. Kiernan was on the first public speaking team.
Me too. I'm aware. We've got so much in
That's why
common.
whenever he does interviews and he says something and they say, ooh, and we would say, St. John's boy, St. John's.
Yeah, because people are always shocked because I was always in the top 3
Yeah.
academic top
Yeah.
20, and people don't always
Yeah.
expect comedians.
But he wasn't, as much as he was incredibly smart, which I know, he was never excelling academically because he found
Academically.
it boring.
Yes.
He
yeah.
really did. He wanted to be a creative. And he was also always, from then already, Kiernan has always had a voice. He always expressed how he felt. And, you would, not just take anything
Yeah.
that people say to him as that is fact. But I
So
want
he
to
was,
tell you.
if he was the head of discipline, he was the one busting the smokers in
Yeah.
the bathrooms. Everyone hated that guy in school. Like the guy.
So
when
for
the
his
smokers,
house, for his house, he was head of discipline. So I don't really know how that went down. I just knew that my son was the head of discipline. For a mom
because
that's like,
he's actually almost like a professional tattletale. He's going, you follow me.
yeah.
Sorry, Mensa, that's awkward. But yeah, that's load shedding for you. Interrupting everything, even our podcasts. But Mensa, it doesn't have to be that way. Tell Eskom to go away and go solar. Now, Mensa, I know what you're going to say. Solar's cock expensive. I can barely afford the Eskom price hikes as it is, and now you want me to fork out hundreds of thousands of rands for a solar system. Well, Mensa, that's the old days. Remember in the old days, nah? You used to buy CDs, then Spotify came along, and now for the price of a CD, you can listen to just about every song ever created. Well, just like Spotify changed the music industry forever, so too has the solar industry been forever changed by a company called Go Solar. This is how it works. You sign up to Go Solar just like you'd sign up for Spotify. Super easy. Go Solar arrange an installation date and put in the perfect solar system for your needs on your house. And listen to this, Mensa. No big upfront cost. They pay for the whole fucking thing. Then instead of paying Eskom every month, you pay Go Solar, starting at 1399 per month, depending on what the size system is that's right for you. So now you're going to say, but Schalk, 1399 is more than my current electricity bill. Maybe it is. It probably is. But how much is it worth to you to never have load shedding ever again? Means that people have gotten desperate. Now they buy these little batteries for like 10,000 rand, which maybe powers your TV for one episode of 7 Alarm and a light. But you can't even fucking boil the kettle for a cup of tea. Means that 10,000 rand is nearly a whole year with Go Solar. And with Go Solar, you get a proper solar system. Means solar panels on your roof. You're looking cock rich. The latest lithium-ion batteries in your garage. An inverter that looks like it belongs to Elon Musk. This is not Mickey Mouse, Mensa. This is proper. This is solar. And, Mensa, if that wasn't enough for you, Eskom is raising its pricing so rapidly that within a few years your electricity bill will be more than 1399 a month anyway. So even without factoring in the load shedding, Go Solar will still be cheaper in the long term. Mensa, this is what we call a no-brainer. Okay, no big upfront cost, no load shedding, no excuse. Go Solar. Go check out Go Solar at gosolar.co.za for details. That's Go Solar, G-O-S-O-L-R, without the A. Lekker.
But for some reason, I don't think it went down like that. I think they were very naughty.
Yeah.
All of those, the boys were, and they had a great camaraderie and all of that. But
amazing.
So before he goes to school now, off to the SABC, to the Academy for Sound Engineers, they're opposite the SABC,
Yeah.
Yeah. Before he goes there, I can remember sitting at the school leavers breakfast brunch with all the St. John's mommies, and they've got this oval table there, and there I'm sitting, but now everybody's going to varsity. My son is like the only child that doesn't go to varsity. And people would just, and they do this thing. I can remember, I almost, how you just want to sink into the film because everybody is sitting. And I'm thinking now, how
medicine, lawyer,
how life is so crazy that certain things are so okay for society and other things not. Because when it comes to me and I say, no, my son has decided he's not going to varsity, he's going to be a sound engineer and he's going to be a rapper. I tell you, Nobody said anything, but I could feel it. The judgment was real.
The judgment and also like the feeling sorry for you a little bit,
Shame,
like, oh,
you must be
shame.
struggling so much with your child. This poor child is giving you so
Oh,
much trouble.
oh.
I can remember later
But
on.
then they're also the first people to message when the first song comes out.
Wait,
When
no.
when it hits the single charts. Hey, I see.
I see,
I see. Look, hey.
And I can remember much later. We'll get to the sound engineering stuff now, but I can remember Kiernan telling a story where later on in life, when he already had made it,
Mm,
he ran into a teacher at the gym.
yeah.
And the teacher kind of said, "Oh, what are you getting up to these days?" But
Yeah.
by now he was a superstar, but this teacher didn't know.
Yeah, some
And
people
he
just,
said, yeah, they
don't, they're
it's
not on
their
social
thing.
media and they just don't
So
know.
he said, "So what are you getting up to these days?" And the teacher, the teacher asked him, "What are you getting up to
Yeah.
these days?" And he said, "Just dabbling in a bit of music." Kind of like that was it.
And then someone probably ran over
Yeah.
and said, "Can I have a selfie?" And the teacher was
Yeah.
like, "Yo."
So as much as so I wanted to tell you, I can remember once I was always being called in by the school teachers because Kiernan was the class clown. He was
Yeah.
just an entertainer. That was in his blood. And
I've heard from people, sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you, that knew him, that he loved joking
he loved
and
it. He was an
pranking
absolute-
people
He
and,
was so funny.
just,
He was a laugh a minute.
yeah.
Yeah. That was him. He had the most amazing personality, the humor, but also he didn't entertain small talk, nonsense like that. He was very much somebody that had a lot of quality conversation that he could bring to the table. So he was smart, and he was very, there was a lot of comedy around him, and he was very entertaining. But he was also a very, his time was, I'm not going to sit and waste my time on small talk. That was his thing. He got very bored with small talk. Anyway, so so then he
I
went
also
in.
do. I just wish I had the guts to say it sometimes.
No, but he would.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing about Kiernan. Kiernan was very straightforward. He would say things just the way they are, and he then he went to the Academy for Sound Engineers after school at the SABC. But what he really did, you see how smart he was. He went there to study as a sound engineer, but he found himself a job at the SABC doing jingles
Okay,
for
like
ads and things like that. And he worked there. He had a job, and so he would go to his lessons and go there. But what he really was doing there, he had access to a studio. So for him, that was the thing. He needed access to a studio, and that's where he started. And then, but producing. So he started producing for, I think it was Pro Kid and Kuli Chana and those kind of people. And then later on, he actually became part of, collaborating with them, working with them. So that was his...
because I mean, Kanye West also, like, a lot of rappers started as producers, and then they start putting on their own verses, and very interesting. Okay.
So a year, come the end of the first year, Kiernan sits down, his family, myself and his dad, and he says, "That's it. It's not happening. I cannot see where this is going. I've tried. I have only one purpose in life, and that is to be a rapper and a hip-hop artist, and I don't want to be a producer. I want to be nothing. There's no plan B. There's no plan B. This is it." And that was it. And then the rest is history, and then you get Kiernan Forbes, aka Super Mega.
Yeah. Beautiful. Did he ever do? Was it a thing, freestyle rapping then, like on the playground?
They did.
Yeah.
They did a lot of that. I mean, they had these rap battles and
rap
things, or
battles.
whatever it was.
How old was Kiernan when he passed?
He just turned 35. So
35.
he turned 35 on the 28th of January now this year, and then he passed on the 10th of February.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Do you wanna down that house one before we enter this? Yeah, no, that's why I put it there for you.
What do you think of, like, I don't know, when I was younger, maybe high school and not high school, before I was in maybe primary school or maybe a teenager, when the family would not use the proper wine glasses and they would pour this and then you put it there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know these things.
Yeah, but now these have become the proper wine glasses
Yeah, no,
now.
I
This
know.
is the in thing.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying then, this was not the proper.
Yeah,
Now
no,
it's,
no.
and we've come full circle. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We've come full circle because before, if it didn't have a stem, it couldn't
Yeah.
be. And now you think how silly that is because
I'm old school. No, but that I agree with the stem because like if
because
you
of
drink
the
white,
be-
then it heats it up.
heats it up, especially if it's
But
I know
I'm
exactly.
old school like that. I like a stem.
Yeah.
I
But
like
anyway,
a
here
stem.
we go.
Here we go.
Hmm. I was actually going away for a weekend with my sister, brother, some cousins. We're going on a golfing weekend to Mpumalanga.
You play golf?
I don't. The
Oh.
men were playing. The girls were gonna
lekker.
hang out at the spa. You know those weekends, and we were staying over that Friday night at my cousin's house in Pretoria because we were only leaving early the next morning. So we were just having dinner, coming back from dinner, and just sitting and chatting. And I had a glass of wine in my hand. I can remember. And my youngest son, this was probably after 10, maybe before 11, and my youngest son phoned my brother-in-law. I could hear him saying, because my son's name is Stefan, and he said, "Hi, Steph." And he walked out the room, and he stayed away for a while, and we just continued chatting, and then he came back, and he sat down beside me, behind me, and he put his arms around me, and we are a very close family, but I mean, he wasn't like that physical with me. And I thought, okay. And I looked back. My sister got up and she asked him, "Trevor, what's wrong?" And I looked at him and I saw his face, and I instinctively thought it was my mom. I just said, "Is it Mom? What happened to Mom?" And he said to me, he said, "No, it's Kiernan." And I just, I don't know. I think something happens, something kicks in that kind of protects you from bad news, because it's almost like slow motion action playing in your head. And I said, "What happened?" I can't even remember exactly. And he said he got shot. And I said, my first instinct was that we had to go and be with him, because in my mind I can't fathom that he would be gone. I'm just thinking I need to be there for him. Something happened, where is he? And he said no.
Go to the hospital.
Yeah. And I just wanted to get out of Joburg, because I knew he was in Durban, because I stayed with him that week with my granddaughter, and I said goodbye to him that morning.
Wow.
So I tell you, Schalk, it was, and he said to me, no, he said he just said he's gone. I tell you, I don't wish it on any mother ever. It is like the most, I don't think I'll ever, I don't know. It's just I can't describe it to you.
No,
The
I
pain,
mean,
the
I don't think
the
you can in
devastation,
words anyway.
the feeling of confusion. I think I ended up on the floor just screaming. I think that's, and from there onward, it's this last 6 months for me now, because now on the 10th it will be 7 months. A lot of it's just a blur. I can remember being at Kiernan's memorial service. I can remember standing up there, or deciding that I had to say something, because I felt, as his mother, I have a responsibility towards the nation. To say something
And with
encouraging.
someone like him, there's now fans involved as well.
Yes,
It's not just family
and I'll
and friends.
tell you, because when the news had sunk in, all I wanted to do was disappear. I wanted to not tell anybody where he was, where his body was, or where we burying him. I wanted to just take him and disappear. And at some point I realized that I can't do that, because I have a son that doesn't belong to me, or to us as a family, and that he belongs to so many people. And I realized that as much as my pain was so deep and so raw, that there was a whole nation, in fact, a whole world in pain, in South Africa probably, and Africa more. But there are people in this country and around the world that absolutely adore Kiernan, aka, even if they've never met him. If I look now at the people that send me DMs, or just response to anything that I say or do, or when I just run into people, and I realize the pain is real for them too.
I think people are still in shock, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hasn't even sunk in for me. I'm at the point now where I more than anything now. I've been there for everybody. And I do feel like as much as I have accepted it, and I don't even know what that means, but I still have that every day is still difficult because I have times in the day. I can sit and chat to you right now like this and we can laugh, and a minute later I could be in tears.
Yeah.
And that's where I find myself. So I do feel right now that I need time out for just Lynn Forbes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Peru, Machu Picchu, the
Yeah.
Amazon River, something where nobody can find me, but only the macaws can see.
The
The birds,
the shamans who
the
live
shamans
there
can
in
just
the-
sprinkle some magic things over me and or make me smoke something.
So when they said he's been shot, what was your first thought? Like, is it an accident, or I mean,
No. That's why I say to you, I don't know. There is no thought.
yeah,
I honestly believe you can only deal with. I didn't believe it was real. That was the thought and that's why I said I had to go because when you
so
when you
you
give
then went to
birth.
Durban.
No.
No.
So no, I didn't because my younger son Stephen came. They took me home. We all just went home. I mean, the weekend obviously stopped, so we went home. The next morning, I had to go tell my granddaughter her dad died because her mom couldn't do it.
Okay. Yeah.
I promise you, sitting there and telling an 8-year-old, 7-year-old at that time that your dad is no more here, the absolute hero. I mean, they had the most amazing relationship.
And I mean, at that age, could she
Yeah.
comprehend, or
I often wonder about it because we sat her down and we said, I've studied psychology, and I have asked because we've had a situation before when Kiernan's girlfriend died,
yes,
where I had to tell her about it. So I did get some. At that point, I was briefed on how to share that kind of news with a kid, and the advice is to be to the point. Don't say "Daddy went to heaven." Don't say you need to say your
you
dad
went away
died.
for a
Yeah.
little while.
So I sat down, I took her hand, everybody was sitting, we were all the women of the family, myself, Sinclair, Brittany, my sister was there at the time. And I said, and I understand, I just lost my son. And I sat there and I said, I have some really bad news. No, I didn't say that. I said, Glammy has to tell you something. She calls me Glammy. And I said, I have to tell you something. And she looked at me because I needed her attention. And I held her hand, I think, and I said, Daddy died. Not last night, not when you just have to give her the information. Daddy died. And sorry, I'm trying to get rid of the sneeze. No, there's a sneeze that wants to come, but I'm going to hold it back. And she looked at me and she said, you could see the confusion, and she said, what happened? Or I can't even remember. And I said, because now she asked me what happened, because she says no or something like that. And then she said, what happened? And I said, some bad. No, I said, you got shot. And then she, and as you give the information, she just kind of crumbles a little bit more. And then she wanted to know who shot him. And I said, some bad people. Because I mean, I don't know the answer to that. And there's no need to give her complicated information. And she started crying. And then I needed to give her a break. And I said, let's go make some hot chocolate. So we all went downstairs. And I can remember sending her ahead because I then had to just break down crying because it was so much. And then I composed myself. I went downstairs and I said to her, no, then she kind of, kids are weird. They playing, and then she comes because they're processing. And because I said to her, whatever you want to ask, you can ask. She came and she asked me. And then she said something like to the effect of, she said, but he's coming back, right? He's going to be okay. So in that moment, I realized that she didn't actually at that moment concept the idea of death.
And it's also a coping mechanism, I guess, as well.
Yeah. So I don't know what to tell you when you ask me what was your first
No,
thought.
I know. It's a cock question anyway. I want to ask you, so what is the next step now?
For me, for Kiernan,
Well,
for his music.
just because obviously everyone knows that what happened to him,
Mm.
if it's let's say it's an accident, there's no next steps. It just,
Oh, you mean
what
in
happened,
terms
what
of the
happened.
investigation? Or in terms of
Yeah,
what's
I
happening
mean, it
with
was
that?
a crime.
Yes,
We know it was a crime, so there needs to be repercussions for a crime. So
absolutely.
what is
Yes.
the next steps with that?
Okay, so as I said, we're 7 months in. Can you
Yeah.
even imagine that?
No.
Almost 7 months in. So yes, it was a crime. It was a terrible crime. It was
Yes.
literally a call. I mean, a hit. It
A
was an
hit.
assassination, and everybody knows that that's not news to anybody. So what I have done, and I'm going to speak from my own because I don't want to speak on behalf of the entire family. For me, there's an investigation ongoing. The police have updated us. We haven't had an update for a while, but I know there will be an update soon. So the bottom line, and this is difficult, and this is why I'm going to tell you why I've taken the stance that I have at the moment. I think as a parent, this can become very emotional, a roller coaster. If you get up every morning and you're wondering what's going to happen next. So I have decided to leave it and let them continue with the investigation because at the end of the day, it's out of my hands. It's out
Yeah.
of my control. There's nothing I can do from my side to change what has to happen.
Do you as a mother, do you want to know who did it? Do you have a desire to know who the people responsible are? Or do you feel it's done, he's gone?
To be honest with you, up to now, and if you ask me the same question, because I have been asked this question, and I've always said it really doesn't matter to me because it won't change anything.
Yeah.
That's where I've been. And now I'm saying, I guess I don't have a burning desire to know every day. Like, that's not what I sit there and think,
Yeah.
I need to know who this person was. I always say this though. For me, knowing who pulled the trigger is not going to change anything in my life. What is more important for me is, or what probably would bring me not peace, but closure. And closure is a difficult word because I think I've had closure. Seeing my son die on a video on YouTube is closure because he wasn't kidnapped. He was shot. He died. That's closure. That's what happened to him. What I would want to know is who paid for the bullet.
Yeah, because I mean, I think from the video, it seems like the gunman was a pawn in a bigger
Absolutely.
game,
Absolutely.
you know?
I mean, these kind of things have to be planned. And
Yeah,
it's
of
not
course,
something
it's not
that you
random.
decide,
And it
let us
wasn't
quickly do
theft.
this.
I mean,
No. So that's the reality of it all. Somebody sat down, somebody decided they're going
someone
to
made an E
end
EFT.
his life, and somebody paid for that bullet. And therefore, for me, if this investigation, if somebody had to be arrested, for me, it means nothing. For me, you can put somebody in jail and say, well, let me tell you, and this is going to sound really harsh, somebody just earned their money to look after their family. That's their job, or what they think is their job. But somebody else decided, the person who killed Kiernan did not make a decision that he had to die. They probably didn't even know him or the person that he was.
Mm.
So I don't think for me justice would ever be served until so justice for me will never be served until justice is served to the person who paid for the
Yes,
bullets.
yes.
For me, and I am not going to let that eat me up because honestly, and I'm going to say it, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Mm.
We probably will have somebody arrested, and I'm just saying what I feel. That's just my feeling, and I think I can express what I feel. I think there might be somebody arrested, and that person might go to jail, or that might whatever. But at the end of the day, justice for me will only be served in the system if whoever paid for the bullet pays for what they did or decided to do. But I have distanced myself from that because I can't see that happening.
Yeah.
Where I am at, justice for me is celebrating my son's life.
Yes.
That's my justice.
Mm.
So I will do whatever it takes to celebrate his life. I don't think I need to build a legacy. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
He did an amazing job of building his own legacy, but I have to preserve his legacy. And when there's a photo, because there's a picture of me standing over my son's coffin when he was buried and looking down at him. And I'll tell you what I said to him. That I said to him, I will do whatever it takes to preserve your legacy, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that the legacy, is kind of, I can't remember the words, but my promise to him was that because in his song he says legacy and megacy, that's all that matters.
Mm.
For Kiernan, and this is something that people might not know about him, money wasn't a big deal for him. He spent all his money on things that he loved doing. He was not I don't think people will actually believe me when I say that Kiernan was not somebody that was about, I have to have bank loads of money. He was about the legacy. He was about his music. He was about his art. He was about giving the best. He would put everything into his music. He would delay albums because it had to be perfect. He was not there for anything that was substandard or anything like that. And he respected what he put out to his fans. So the legacy,
Well, which means respecting the fans,
he
because
respected
you
his
have
fans.
to
Kiernan had
give them
huge
the
respect
best.
for his fans, and I think in return they have given him.
Yes.
I said the other day, for me, the legacy is, this is how I look at them. I look at that as unconditional love. Look,
Yeah.
I look at these conditions, the music must be great. But those are the only people that actually don't want anything from him in terms of, they don't want to be paid for nothing. They literally just absolutely, they're
They just
his
want
fans.
music. Yeah.
It's about the music, And he never disappointed them, so I don't believe they'll ever disappoint him.
I think when something as tragic happens that happened to you as a mother,
Yeah.
I think one of the things that comes up is, especially because his life was taken, not,
Yeah.
It wasn't
It wasn't a natural.
Where do you stand with forgiveness?
I've forgiven. I'm done.
You're done.
I've forgiven. So there's another story. There's a backstory to my forgiveness. And
Okay.
I know this is about Kiernan, but I'll tell you quickly.
No, I want to know, yeah.
I have got the gift of forgiveness now because I was sexually abused as a child when I was young. And I carried that for a long time. It was only when I was about 38 when I spoke about it for the first time.
Wow.
And sorry. It was only 38 years later that I spoke about it. So
I see.
it was when my granddaughter was born. So in 2015, I was 48 or 47 when I first spoke about it. I think what I forgave was myself. I thought I forgave myself for all the blame and things that I put on myself for things that's happened to me. And, I think once you work through that and say, what, actually, you are an amazing person. You've got so much to offer the world. You are all of this. And when I did that, my life became lighter for me. My burdens felt lighter for me. And when this thing happened, I very quickly decided that I need to accept what's happened. I think the first thing I did was accept that my son was gone. Now, the pain is there. The grief is, I'm never going to be the same person. My life has been reset forever. But I had to accept that he was gone. And that acceptance then came with also understanding that if I allow, and I'm going to say hate or any of those negative feelings to build up inside of me, it's going to affect me more negatively than they're going to affect the people that are responsible for this. So I handed it over to them. Let them sit with their stuff. I did an amazing job as being a mom. I did an amazing job. Kiernan and I had a great relationship. There's nothing that I could have done differently to save his life. Somebody else is responsible for his death, not me. And if I don't forgive them, I'm going to sit with that. Now, I'm not saying I'm okaying what they did. I'm just saying I'm not going to carry the burden for their wrongdoings.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to they already took your son's life. You can't let them take your life
Exactly.
as well.
And I tell you right now, this interview with you, and it's not an interview, it's a chat, I will be a mess later on because I'm gonna all of these things that you and I talked about is gonna come bubbling over, and it's fine. And then
I'll send the rest of the house wines that we didn't
please
drink
send
with.
it so that I can have it later.
Okay, let's get back to the celebrating Kiernan's life
Yeah.
bit. I always ask the moms this because it's such a fun question for me to ask, because I always say often what is a highlight for the artist in their career and what's the
Yeah.
highlight for the mom is often not the same highlight, because the mom sees things. So like
Yeah.
in terms of a show or an album
Yeah.
or a song, like for you, if you had to point out a highlight
for me, I don't even have to think about it. The highlight for me was when he won Best Male at the Summers.
Okay.
That was it 2011, 2012? It was around there.
So early
on.
early days.
So because for me, that, you know when you're a mom, you've got a mom.
No, I don't know when I'm a mom.
But you have a mom. Okay,
I have a mom.
ask your mom. Ask your mom.
I'll ask my mom.
For me, my son was that person, even when he was, for me, my son is not a celebrity. My son is not a superstar. My son is not any of it. My son is that person that comes through the door and says, "Mom, make me a sandwich. Please, Mom, can you make me a sandwich?" And I go like, "Do it yourself." And he goes, "No, but it doesn't taste the same way it tastes when you make it, So when I see him there on stage at the Summer Awards,
I haven't thought about a snackwich in so long. You just
no,
made me crave a snackwich so
let me
much
tell you,
now.
the only reason I did that is because in my dream he asked me for a snackwich. So
There's a much difference between a sandwich and a snackwich.
no. Listen,
can't even compare
please
it.
let's not. You must be clear about
Yeah.
it. Different, two different things completely. And he loved those things. A snackwich with a glass of Oros.
Is that what he asked for in the dream?
No, he didn't say that. He didn't ask for the Oros,
Okay.
but when he was younger, he would want that.
That's the thing.
So the Summer Awards, yes, when he was seeing him come out there, he was wearing that black jacket he had a little switchy in it it lights up. It's now, I think it's at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Wow.
They framed it. It's there.
Sure.
So that was his first summer, and he was, I don't know if I could be wrong, but anyway, the summers when he won Best Male Artist. Best Male. It was like Best Male of all genres.
Darren, he beat Darren.
Do you know how mother feels? Like you
Yeah.
are like, wow, my child is amazing.
No, that's amazing.
And this is a little bit of sweet thing again, but when he died, I actually really for the first time understood the magnitude of Kiernan Forbes of AKA. The outpouring of it was just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. At the moment, where are we now, 7 months later, I try every single day to answer, let's say, 3 messages, texts from people who send me messages around the time that he died. Guess which date I am on now? The 12th of February. He died on the 10th. I'm on the 12th. People have said to me, "Why do you still do it? Just leave it." I said, "No, even if it takes me 20 years, I will say 20 years ago, you sent me, I really appreciate your message."
Yeah.
And that is what I've had people
imagine that person
me
7 months
messages.
later, they're like, I've got a DM from Lynn
I tell you,
Forbes.
people have sent me messages from all corners of the world saying, if you ever had to come to Germany, if you just need to break away, that's the kind of outpouring of love I'm receiving.
Yeah.
So it's just so mind-blowing.
I just want you to tell quickly so when we were stopped for the load shedding thing, you
Yes.
said, I mean, it's clear that Kiernan comes to you in dreams all the time. And then you said you asked for, you don't have to tell the whole thing, but just the cigarette part.
Oh, the cigarette part.
I just
Now
love
you're gonna
that.
it's gonna sound like I smoke.
No. I just-
Okay, for the record, I don't usually smoke. But on this night when Kiernan was in my dream,
yeah.
in the
You
dream,
were a smoker in the
I
dream.
was asking him for a cigarette. I said, do you have a cigarette? And I don't know why I asked him that, but anyway, I said, do you have a cigarette for me? Because he's used to smoke. And he said, Mom, I don't smoke anymore. Here where I am, we just vape.
I love the idea of like God doesn't ban cigarettes, or He's banned cigarettes in heaven, but not vapes. Like you are talking today about the loss of a son, and a week or two ago, I interviewed Sivan Gessi, and he was talking about the loss losing a mother.
Of a mom.
But he was saying, and I mean, he said this on the podcast, but the only reason I bring this up is because he was so adamant about it, that he feels his mom is dead. He has no religious, spiritual. He feels that there's no. Because I asked him, like, do you feel like when you do something, achieve something, she's kind of looking, and he's like, no, she's dead. She's gone.
He doesn't
She has
believe in it.
She has no
Connection.
onto. She has no idea what's happening.
Mhm.
You said you kind of spiritual, kind of like where.
What do I believe about where he is?
Yeah, and do you feel him around you?
Yes.
You said earlier he's here.
Yes.
Where do you?
Yeah.
Just out of interest.
So what I believe without a doubt is that my son is in heaven.
Mm.
Because he lived his last days serving God.
Mm.
He did, and he was not shy about it. He expressed it. He was excited about it. He really had found God, and in everything he did, God was there. Okay.
I mean, you're in his lyrics as well often.
Yes. If you listen to Mass Country, the
Yeah.
very last one, you will hear God all over. So that one, you can come and argue with me. I don't care. My son's in heaven.
Mm.
Okay. And then when it comes to whether I feel he's here, I feel him all the time. I do. And again, I will tell you, I'm not that kind of person that. I'm not that person. I'm not that Tani that is all, it's going to, I do trust my gut now, and I do feel him. I believe he's with me all the time. He told me in his dream that he's with me all the time. I do believe that he guides me. I see him in butterflies.
Yeah.
I see too many butterflies. It must be him.
Yeah.
And so mostly, butterflies. I don't know. I've never seen these butterflies, but now I have these butterflies all over the place. And I don't know. It's not even something I could put my finger on. I feel that he's with me.
Yeah. But I want to ask you, what do you do? I didn't even ask you.
I do a lot of things, mostly, and the one thing that I want people to know me for is that I'm not an inspiring speaker, an inspirational speaker. I do a lot of those. I get put for talks. I have a podcast.
Yes. What's
with
it called?
My friend Katie, Outspoken Owls. Go check it out on
Lekker.
Spotify, on YouTube.
They talk about being tunnies. Being tunnies
talk
in a
about,
modern world.
We talk about being phenomenal tunnies in a modern world.
Well, Tannie Lynn, you are inspirational, motivational. You make an impact. Your son's made an impact, and I mean, too big to describe.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Pleasure.
Thank
Absolute
you.
Pleasure,
We'll put all the handles, the podcast name, everything, aka is still on Spotify, and he'll always be there. If you miss him, go have a listen.
Thank you.
Lekker. Thank you.
Amazing. And the wine is good, by the way.
Thank you.
I must get this one.